Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2022 3-game match reviews. Yes, here we are for another 3-game match reviews. Round 16 came and went just like that. It was really quickly, and another 3 games are here to review. What a big 3 games this was. We learned some more about some teams contending for the top 8 and some more of where these lower ranked teams are at. There's some really big moments in these games, so let's go ahead and not waste too much time. I'm going to go ahead and get right into things. So the games that that I'm going to be reviewing in this video are Richmond vs West Coast, GWS vs Hawthorn, and Fremantle vs Port Adelaide on a ripping day of footy on the Sunday. Richmond vs West Coast, MCG, Sunday Arvo footy. So, Sunday, Arvo footy, Richmond 28-128, defeat West Coast 13-15-93. But I must admit, it was quite a valid effort for the West Coast Eagles side. They did come to play, and for the majority of the game, they were in the game. But Richmond were just too strong, winning by 35 points. The first two quarters, the first quarter was really interesting, with inaccuracy probably being the factor why West Coast weren't winning at quarter time or weren't in front. And then in the second quarter, Richmond do just say goodbye to West Coast and have a pretty comfortable 30 or so point lead at the half-time break. And then in the third quarter, West Coast make matters in their own hands and they bring things back down to less than 20 points. Less than 20 points. And then in the final quarter, Richmond just do enough. They have another good quarter in front of the Big Six to seal your deal. Now, West Coast 13-15 wasn't great compared to Richmond's 28. But again, though, the third quarter was very good from West Coast. They came back within a couple of kicks. And they were strong. They can play. And their second half of the year isn't going to be too bad. So obviously they've got Carlton next week at Optus Stadium. That's going to be a really big showing to see where they're really at. But they've been looking okay in the past few weeks, have West Coast. They've actually turned their season around from a point where it was at bad to very bad, and now they're actually on the turnaround again. Not one of the best teams in the competition, but they're getting better. 40 disposal for Tim Kelly, 3 goals for Jack Revolt, 132 fantasy for Tim Kelly, 5 tackles for Marley and Pickett. But this was another good showing from West Coast. They've been alright in the past few weeks, and they only go down to 35, where this could have been a bit more of a smashing than that. Now, Tim Kelly was good with the 132 fantasy, Marlon Pickett, 113, 112 for Broad, 112 for Cripps as well, 98 for Rioli, Daniel Rioli that one, 92 for Redden, and Nadanui, his first game back. And boy, West Coast with the inclusion of him would have been massive. 3 goals for Revolt and Cripps, 2 goals for Lynch, Edwards, Kelly, Pickett, McIntosh, Bolton, and Baker getting in there with the 2 goals. Now disposals, 40 for Kelly. He's an absolute superstar. 28 for Daniel Rioli. He was really good as well. 26 for Shuey, 25 for Pickett and Broad, 24 for Graham, Cripps and Redden, 22 for Short. Marks we go now, 11 for Nathan Broad, 10 for, I think it's Hoff. I'm not sure. Number 19 from West Coast. I think that might be Hoff. And Waterman, 8 for McIntosh and Hearn. Tackles we go, 5 for Pickett, 4 for Nankervis, Castagna, Shuey, Petrocelli, and Redden. Hit-outs, 26 for Nadanui. His presence would have been massive. 22 for Nankervis, 11 for Williams, 9 for Soldo. So West Coast were better in the ruck area. And believe it or not, they went inside 50 more times than Richmond, although Richmond being more effective and getting more scores when they went inside, and West Coast had more of the ball. This was not a bad game for West Coast. Yes, they may have lost by 35, but they were in it. They were in it, and they didn't play too badly. This could have been a lot of a bigger smashing if Richmond had have played really well or West Coast had have played really bad. So, yeah, I feel like West Coast, it wasn't too bad. Yes, they did lose, but they won the hit-outs and the clearances. This was not a bad performance against a team that will feature in September. I'm almost pretty confident Richmond will make finals. There's the marks, all in favour of Richmond. Richmond did lead for most of the game, but West Coast did put up another very valid effort. Richmond did take the game on simply more, though, 25 to 4 bounces. But what a ripping game of footy. West Coast showing signs of improvement. Richmond showing some of their best footy that they want to be in September in 2022. Now to later Sunday afternoon footy, where the Giants 11-6-72 stomped their foot on the lowly Hawks 7-8-50, and it was an absolute swimming pool out there. Well, I mean, it wasn't a swimming pool, but you get what I mean. It was a very wet game. It was hard to play, resulting in both these two teams struggling a lot, and GWS were the better. Giants Stadium, it was an interesting game. The Hawks had it played their way in the first quarter after the Giants were strong starters. And then the second quarter, Hawks kicked 5 behinds. When you're just in the wet, you got to capitalise on your opportunities. If they had kicked all 5 goals, they could have scored more than them. What they ended up finishing with, and the Giants kicked 2 late goals to take the lead. Then in the third quarter, the Giants kicked 3 goals to 2. Pretty boring quarter. And then in the final quarter, they just stamped their foot. They kicked 2 more goals to Hawthorn's 1. It wasn't the most exciting game footy. It was wet and contested, which some people like that, some people don't. Tom Mitchell, 35, disposes 4 goals for Callum and Brown. He made the most of his opportunities in the wet. Tim Taranto, 125 fantasy and the 10 tackles. Now to AFL Fantasy we go, where 125 for Taranto, 124 for Kelly, 119 for Mitchell, 118 for Cornelio, he was good as well, 114 for Whitfield, 110 for Hogan, 108 for Morrison, 100 for Flynn, 96 for Brown, 95 for Amir, 94 for Cumming. Now to the goals and behinds we go, where 4 for Brown, he led for the goals on the ground, 2 for Hogan and then everybody else just got the 1. Mitchell, 35 disposals, 32 for Whitfield, 31 for Cornelio, 30 for Taranto, 30 for Kelly, 29 for Cummings. Some really experienced GWS players there with the high numbers over 30. Kelly, Taranto, Cornelio, Whitfield. And then, Mitchell, he's going to do it every week for the Hawks. Marks, 8 for Hogan, 7 for Whitfield, 5 for Ash, tackles, 10 for Taranto and Kelly, 8 for Cornelio, Kazitsky and Nash. Hitouts now, 46 for Flynn, 39 for Reeves, 6 for Hogan, 2 for Kazitsky, and that'll do it. So now to team stats we go, where the Giants had a heap more of the footy, but they only went inside 50 3 more times than the Hawks, and the Hawks went inside 50 more times than what they could have scored. They went inside 50, 60 times and scored the 50. But it was a very sloppy game of footy, and that's why I can see the disposal efficiency for Hawthorn 53, 63 for the Giants. Not the greatest of numbers there. The Giants, though, did win free kicks, hit-outs, clearances, and centre clearances. However, the Hawks did win the stoppage clearances. Now, is there anything else interesting? The Giants took way more marks than the Hawks, plus 15, plus 2 marks inside 50, plus 4 contested marks. The Giants led for majority of the game and deserved to lead as well. They were the better of the sides in 14th versus 15th. 1-0 bounces. You don't take bounces in the wet weather if you've already learnt. That just shouldn't happen. And it was it was raining a lot during this game. The Giants win by 22 though, and show that they are better than the Hawks. Alright, now to the last game of the round, where Fremantle 15-9-99 get over Port Adelaide 14-7-91. This one was an absolute ripper. It looked like Port Adelaide were going to come back at stages, but again, they just didn't. They were making a power surge though for it later on in the game. And it was the Power and the Dockers that both shared a good first quarter. A high-scoring game, 26 apiece at quarter time. And then the second quarter, the Dockers just get out to that around 30-point lead. You know from there it's going to be pretty tough to come back against such a quality opponent like the Dockers. Port Adelaide only managing just the 2 goals for the quarter. And then again in the third quarter, the Dockers outscored Port Adelaide. They kicked 4 goals to Port Adelaide's 3. And at stages, it was a 40-point game, or even more than 40 points, and it looked over. It looked like the Dockers were going to win this one by about 60 points, but then Port Adelaide just kicked 1, 2, 3, 4 goals in a row in the final quarter to come back within striking distance, and nothing happened after this little goal here for Port Adelaide, which brought them back into the things, down by a few points, or down by a couple of kicks. nothing happened, and they blew their chances. They had the chances, you can say, later on in the game to win the game. They had chances, didn't take them, and that is resulting in the loss. 39 disposals for Ollie Wines, 5 goals for Rory Lobb, 121 fantasy for Brayshaw, 11 tackles for Brayshaw. But what a ripping game of footy it was in the West. 121 fantasy for Brayshaw. You know he's going to do it week in, week out. 114 for Ace, 112 for Wines, 107 for Darcy and Boak, 104 for Brody, 102 for Lobb. Lobb was good, actually. Lobb was really good. 100 for Sarong, 93 for Burton, 90 for Burn-Jones, 89 for Clark, who got a stack of the footy, in 85 for Charlie Dixon. 5 goals for Lobb. That was the real that was the real point of difference in this game. Lobb just exploded. He wants to go back to New South Wales early on this year. The Dockers would be happy to keep him, and now after this, you'd be wanting to keep him a lot, Dockers fans. He is a really important piece of your team, and even though he may have these weeks where he's horrible, but a 5-goal week, that's pretty good when the game is on the line, because they knew, well, you didn't know it was going to come to that, but just the 5 goals, fantastic. 2 goals for Dixon and Georgiades, as well as Tabner, Schultz, Aish and Rosie. And then everybody else just a 1 goal. Disposals now, 39 for Wines, 32 for Boak, 29 for Clark, who was impressive, as well as Aish and Burn-Jones. 27 for Brayshaw. You know he does do it week in, week out. And is one of the favourites for the Brownlow medal as well. Will Brodie gets 27 as well. Sarong 25 with a ripper goal. 24 for Hughes and Burton. Now to marks we go, where Ryan had 8 as well as Aish had 8. 7 for the following: Cox, Young, Pearce and Georgiades. Tackles now, 11 for Brayshaw, 9 for Brodie, 6 for Mundy, Mead, and 6 for Mundy and Mead, 5 for Drew. Hit-outs now, 38 for Darcy. No Port Adelaide recognised ruckman. This is where the game could have potentially been lost as well. Dixon did have the 15. Lobb had the 13 as well. 5 for Finlayson and 2 for Marshall. But Port Adelaide do need to recognise ruck. It is hurting them now. They have lost a few close games, and could you potentially say that's the reason? Well, maybe. We'll have to have a look at the clearance stats and see how that tallies up. Port Adelaide went inside 50 one more time than the Fremantle Dockers. The ball, and that was relatively even. Free kicks were even, but then, just have a look at that. Like, hit-outs, 51-22 in favour of the Dockers. Clearances, 47-30 in favour of the Dockers. Centre clearances, 19-10 in favour of the Dockers. Stoppage clearances, 28-20 in favour of the Dockers. That can be what a recognised ruckman, without a recognised ruckman, can hurt you, is those stats right there. And, I mean, yes, you do weigh up the midfields, and they're actually pretty even. You've got Brayshaw, Brodie, Fife, Sarong on one side, and then you've got Drew, Boak, Wines, and somebody else on the other. I'm not going to recognise all the players, but that is, Port Adelaide do need to recognise ruck. That is probably where the game was won and lost, and the Dockers probably should have won by more. They kicked 1 goal in the final quarter, but they were very good out of clearance, and they looked dangerous. Now to marks, again in favour of Fremantle, but marks inside 50, 13-12 in favour of the Dockers. The Dockers led for most of the game, had a 40-point lead, deserved to win. Port Adelaide almost made the impossible comeback, but again, just couldn't quite do enough. What a ripping game of footy though it was, and the Dockers win by 8 in an absolute ripper. And they are now in the top 4 as well. So what a round we had in round 16. Bit unexpected, but, well, this round was a bit different and unexpected, but Brisbane 108 defeated the Dogs 67. St Kilda 93 got over the Blues 78. That was unexpected. Essendon 95 got over the Swans 86, another unexpected win. Melbourne 94 get over the Crows 65. The Pies 67 get over the Suns 62. That one was kind of unexpected. The Cats 144 smashed the Roos 32. The Tigers 128 gets over a valid Eagles side 93. The Giants 72 get over the Hawks 50, and the Dockers 99 get over the Power 91. To the ladder now, what has that done? Well, it is just, if anything, evened things up even more now. The Demons are still a game away. The Cats, the Lions, and the Dockers round out the 4 with 44 points. And then now, Carlton sitting 5th with Collingwood on 40 points. What a season Collingwood have had. Richmond, Sydney, and St Kilda all equal on points. St Kilda out of the 8. but still on 36 points, equal with the others. Then the Doggies are on 32 points, the lone team on 32 points. The Suns and the Power need to make big moves now because they're on 28 and are falling behind the pack. The Giants now go up into 13th place with 20 points. The Crows down to 14th, also with 20 points. The Hawks start the bottom four with 16 points. The Bombers have come equal with them on 16 points as well, trying to get their way out of the bottom four. The Eagles are on 8 points, but are an improving side, and North Melbourne are the worst team in the competition on 4 points and are in bottom spot. Now to round 17 we go, where it is going to be a jam-packed round with the Cats and the Demons opening things up. Second versus first, GMHBA Stadium. It's the Cats getting 2 games there in a row. Should be interesting to see how that one goes. Sydney versus the Dogs on Friday night. May not seem like a great game, but it is massive for both these two teams' season. We have had some rippers there and between these two clubs before, so we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. Collingwood versus North on the Sunday. This is a must-win game for Collingwood, and they should win it as well. Gold Coast versus Richmond is your Saturday twilight game at Metricon Stadium. The Suns need to put up another great effort there to try and beat this ripping Tigers outfit. The Saints and the Dockers go head-to-head on Saturday night footy. Really important for both these two clubs at Marvel. The Dockers have a bit of a hoodoo there, but still can win. Port Adelaide versus Giants is your other Saturday nighter at the Adelaide Oval. Really big. Looms is another elimination final for Port Adelaide. The Giants have been pretty good this year, so who knows what they can conquer up. The Lions and the Bombers. The Bombers have been improving over the past few weeks, but you don't know which week they're going to pick to be theirs. And the Lions have been too strong at the Gabba this year. The Hawks and the Crows shapes as another really interesting game as 14th versus 15th happens again for the second week in a row. Should be an absolute ripper at Marvel. And then you finish off your round with the improving West Coast Eagles versus the 5th place Carlton at Optus. This is a big one for both teams. Carlton, they're not great in Perth, so they need to try and pick this win. Otherwise, another upset could be on the cards. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.